Humanity lives its usual measured life. Major political issues are being addressed in the White House, and outside of it, ordinary people make plans for tomorrow and don't even suspect what changes await them. But one single morning changes everything. For unknown reason, all carriers of the Greek chromosome suddenly die in the city. Simply put, all male representatives are animals, birds and people among them, and the president of the country, the only male who managed to survive. This is a young, talentless illusionist, Yorick Brown, and his hand capuchin Ampersand take the place of the president in case of emergency. Should Regina Oliver? But unfortunately, during the incident, she was out of the country, and there is no news from her. Naturally, lack of leadership leads to dire consequences. Riots start in the city, and residents in panic smash the city, not understanding how to live on. Tension builds up in the White House, too. Employees understand that in 2 weeks they will be ambushed, run out of coal and clean water. Food is not enough for long either. Animals can't breed anymore. Grow enough stock in a short time? Just impossible. And that's on not just one city. This will affect everyone. Senator Jennifer Brown takes the reins. It is the agent who sneaks into her President's secret group, Sarah Bergen, with serial number 3, Female 5. Girl report that she was sent here because of some real threat, but she did not have time to tell in detail about the new task. All this time, Yorick doesn't leave the apartment to not be a target for women. But stocks are gradually coming to an end, and leaving a note for your girlfriend, the man still decides, get out for scouting. Same time as this, Senator sends Sarah to find her daughter Hero, who never got in touch after the disaster. But Hero is in no hurry to take shelter in a safe place. Instead of this, she arrives at the victim accommodation facility to help those in need, including the wife of her deceased lover. And after that, the girl goes back to her friend's lair. And at first sight, it seems there are still survivors in the city. But soon everyone becomes in their places. We're born these guys in a female body, and only thanks to hormones were they able to change gender, so the unknown ailment did not affect them in any way. Evacuation begins in New York, and heavy military equipment rolls around the city. Yorick has to hide, not to fall into the hands of the military, but still he manages to sneak into the local bar, to leave on the wall another message for your girlfriend. Yorick is still hoping that she is alive and seeing his autograph. Girlfriend will return home. Usually the guy manages to go unnoticed. But this time, things don't go according to plan. His capuchin escapes and Yorick has to run after him, restless and going down in the flooded subway, and disappears in dirty water, filled with dead bodies. Overcoming squeamishness, the guy decides to go after him, to don't lose your only friend. At some point, Yorick seems that not far from him stands the same living man, but it looks like it was just a vision, shining a flashlight around. The guy doesn't see anything else except dirty water. Getting out of the water, Yorick sneaking into a clothing store to change clothes, but there he fails, stay shadow banned. Shop owners notice a naked guest and freeze with surprise. One of the women offers to capture the guy and give it to the authorities in return for a good bonus, but still having pity on the unfortunate, they end up letting Yorick go, handing him a set of clean clothes. The stress experienced is literally driving Yorick crazy. Rewatching footage on phone, he remembers the day when AMP appeared in his life and apparently hearing the guy's voice, Capuchin getting out of his hiding place, couple coming home, feeling completely safe there. But hearing the door open, Yorick understands what was wrong in the apartment snuck someone outside her, and he will have to defend himself. Armed with guitar, he hides around the corner and he fails to strike the guy. Sarah turns out to be faster and stronger. She rips the guy's arms out of his hands, and a few hours later takes him to his mother, to Senator Brown. Pilots who brought Yorick to the White House are being locked up. Sarah explains it with that they should rest after a long flight. But everyone understands that the thing is different. No one should know about that the new president's son survived, otherwise it could raise conspiracy suspicions and lead to more riots. Yorick himself isn't thrilled about this situation either. Taking a little break after all the experiences, he decides to look around. But Guy's curiosity almost leads him to fail. In an abandoned office, he is discovered by Marlo, widow of deceased president. On time arrived Jennifer and Sarah expose everything like this, as if Marla started having mind problems. At this time, Yorick manages to hide. But the conspirators are under threat, and Sarah insists on that guy needs to be taken away from the White House. Daughter of the deceased president trying to find out what her mother saw at night. Jennifer assures girl that it was nothing more than a hallucination, but Kimberly suspects President Brown is lying to her. Jennifer Brown instructs assistants to find genetics, who can examine the Yorick and find out what happened on the planet and why did him and Capuchin manage to survive. The president plans to bring specialists here, but Sarah continues to stand her ground. It's too dangerous, and they should take the guy out of town. Agent ready to take on this dangerous mission, but you need to do it as soon as possible. At the same time in Israel, the injured woman comes to her senses as soon as she opens her eyes and finds out that all the men on Earth died. Woman states that the post of President of America should now be held by her. Nora Brady, former presidential advisor, forced, wandering along with his little daughter Mackenzie. Without means of subsistence and having lost her husband and son's woman hardly picks herself up, but still decides to fight to save myself and daughter. In the White House find out about that Regina Oliver, main presidential candidate alive. This leads to a split among employees. Part 1 remains true to Jennifer Brown, and the second side with Regina Oliver and Kimberly, president's daughters. In this scenario, Jennifer has to agree with Kara and let the son go to a safer place. To this mission, agent connects pilots who got the guy here, and as motivation, she hands them hero stars, promising eternal glory case of successful implementation. The only way to secretly get Yorick out of the building. It's a trolley with bodies, guy trying to give up and come up with something else. But Sarah remains adamant. They can't risk it and Yorick will have to endure. Agent successfully takes out young man and transports him into a helicopter. But manage it she is going to herself. Second helicopter. On board which only girl pilots should fly ahead as a distraction. Only that's how only airplanes climb to the desired height and are lost from sight. Escort helicopter loses control and scatters to a lot of hot debris. This terrifies Yorick, and only Sarah keeps calm, knowing that this is the price of silence of pilot girls. After hours of travel, Sarah and Yorick sit down to take a little break. The agent does not stand up and asks the guy to undress. After a ride in a cart with bodies, it doesn't smell like much, and it would be better wash clothes before further travel. Yorick's sister, Hero, goes in search of a safe place. In the company of his friend Half Mushchina, on the way a couple walks into a looted store to try to find at least some food. But instead, they find their scared Nora and Mackenzie. Examining the girl's leg, Hero notices a serious infected wound, and she asks Nora to let her give first aid so they can move on. Sarah and Yorick's camp is attacked by wild robbers. Agent tries to distract them and escort them off, but not to risk. Yorick, putting on a mask and waving a stick, scares girls. Afraid that they will thwart their plan, unexpected guests leave, but the couple does not dare to stay still. They're getting to the nearest town in exchange for a bike, helicopter shot generator, and a couple of grenades. But bye. Sarah inspecting and checking the vehicle, Yorick forgetting all the safety rules. Runs away to a deserted place, deciding that he saw his girlfriend in the crowd. Beth's stupid act leads the guy into a trap. He is surrounded by female police officers who tear Yorick's mask off and find out his secret. The king has to intervene to protect Buddy, and kicking it off, she takes the guy away. But as soon as a free minute is given, Sarah stops the bike to bring Loser's feelings and remind him of the importance of the mission, which he just almost ripped off. Hero is her buddy, and their new companions come for a night at an empty women's shelter. Girl confesses to Nori that her daughter has serious problems. She needs antibiotics. But pharmacies have long been looted, as well as empty houses. From fear and powerlessness, Nora goes outside so that the daughter does not see her tears. But their woman faces a new test. Horsemen appear in the yard, who call themselves housewives, and it seems they are not very happy with uninvited guests. The other visitors of the hostess are also discovered. Real quick, they transfer them to the stable to get rid of extra mouths, but Nora notices something. What can save them? One of the riders is injured. Inora asks Hero to examine the girl and help her. Paramedic trying to do something, but the bullet wound turns out to be too heavy. And there is nothing at hand except duct tape and a pair of rubber gloves. Several hours of surgery do not bring results. The girl is getting worse, and the leader of the female gang, Roxanne, decides to end her torment. Contrary to the experiences of Burrow, turns out to be kind and understanding. She invites guests to stay the night at their house and promises to give antibiotics, which Mackenzie needs. And when the company follows the leader, Hero understands that antibiotics are only a small part of the gang's reserves. They own a whole mall. Clogged with sustenance, Sarah and Yorick keep making their way to Boston to find the geneticist Allison Mann. But at the entrance to the city, meets roadblock and a host of blinded gas soldiers. Sarah offers to split. She'll distract the military until Yorick and his monkey get around the ambush. Meeting Boston colleagues, Sarah learns that the absence of men in the world no way saved him from crime. Whole rebel squads are constantly attacking Harvard, trying to get inside and find answers to your questions. The plan is triggered while Sarah is talking up the military. Yorick sneaks into some headquarters to hide from the threat, but also there he falls into the hands of the rebels. Being revealed. Guy is lucky. The rebels mistake him for being trans and let him leave, telling where he can find his get the right hormones and hide. Finally, Yorick and Sarah find Allison Mann's apartment, and then her office at Harvard. The geneticist isn't very happy about the strange stranger's visit, but as soon as Yorick takes off his mask, she immediately understands what they came for. Mann understands that she should study the guy and his capuchin, but doing this at Harvard is no longer possible. There is no equipment left, no any samples to work with. So she offers the only possible option. Rush to San Francisco to take advantage of the lab. There, Sarah agrees to another dangerous journey. But for some reason, she's from Yorick breaks walkie-talkie, depriving them of their only opportunity. Contact the president. The agent uses this breakdown as an excuse to leave. She asks Buddy to look after the geneticist until she finds another way to contact the White House. In the meantime, among politicians, power-sharing controversy begins again. Who care not everyone? One of Jennifer Kristen's helpers is getting bad, and she thinks she lost her baby. Only here the ultrasound shows the opposite. Pregnancy continues to develop and is quite possible. What's inside developing boy? Sarah sneaks into someone else's house, whose hostess turns out to be no less agile than a secret agent. A brawl breaks out between the girls. But when they still let each other speak, it turns out that both burglars work for one organization, and they came here for one and the same. Find the hostess of the house and put a bullet in her. Learning about the helicopters falling, Jennifer doesn't find a place for herself, but Kristen tries to calm the boss down. Search team reported, what did they find the bodies of only 2 pilots? Relief comes for a while. The president understands most likely accident caused by Sarah, eliminating unnecessary witnesses, and she gets scared. Yorick is in the company of a dangerous criminal, and it is unknown what she will do with him. To the White House, getting delivered to Regina Oliver, running for president. Taking advantage of this, Kimberly is preparing a coup to get rid of the hated Jennifer Brown, and subsequently seize power. Allison Mann confesses to Yorick that she's insecure about research success. Girl don't know. Will they have enough resources to find the cause of the death of a man? Their view. But whatever, Yorick waiting for difficult times. And he and his capuchin soon will become experimental samples. Sarah returns to the office and offers to nominate. She lies to Yorick for some reason, reporting allegedly she spoke to his mother, and they have permission to go to San Francisco. Trinity getting put on the way, not knowing about that a military patrol drives around town with a picture of Sarah. But while girls wait for the safe window between gas supply, Yorick decides to visit the place, which the rebels told him about. Community of people with changed gender, in which he can take off his mask and not be afraid to show male face. Sarah is infuriated by Yorick's next antics, but soon it becomes clear that the main danger is not a guy, and she herself. The patrol comes to the community and shows everyone her picture. The company manages to escape from the bloodhounds and hide in the church. Kings have to admit that she has no connection to the White House, and all the decisions she makes on her own. Hera is her friend. Enora and her daughter continue to live in the commune. Roxanne's at first look, it seems, that the company went to a real paradise. Eat food, medicine, and safety. But when Nora tries to lead away from the next meeting of radical feminists, Roxanne is coming into a frenzy. She resembles that sheltered guests, which means they must obey her rules and obediently listen to everything. What is she saying? More than that, Roxanne tries to do everything to small, Mackenzie-hated men and join their movement. Another such meeting is interrupted by a battle alarm. Women line up barricades and armed, stand up to their supermarket. Enemies turn out to be a group of unfortunate women with little girl. Roxanne goes out to them but she doesn't accept outsiders into the community anymore. Even a child does not cause her sympathy, and she chases away refugees, denying them help. Allison finds in Sarah's stuff leaflet with information about the search for an agent. She offers Yorick to escape, to don't get framed because of Sarah, but the guy refuses to betray his girlfriend. Despite that she is hiding something from them. Evening by Roxanne gathers his community for some solemn event. At the very beginning, she tells the crowd about Laura, one member of the movement, which Roxanne proudly calls the Amazons. At first, everything looks very innocent, but in the midst of a holiday, Hera and her companions are beginning to understand what is going on here, something strange. Loru first sprinkled with earth, then put in the bath, and when it appears on the surface, everyone starts calling the girl out by her new name, Athena, deciding that all this is as strange as possible. Sam is trans friend of Hero, leaves the hall. One of the members of the movement catches up to warn against conflicts with Roxanne. But this girl only creates problems for herself. She is called to talk. Jennifer is being reported on that the search party spotted Sarah, and they are preparing an ambush on her. The president is starting to worry about that the scouts would find her son. But by this point, Allison still manages to persuade the guy to leave, and a couple hiding in the woods. Tension increases. Bloodhounds trying to catch up with Yorick and Allison, but Sarah diffuses the soldiers and destroys their walkie-talkies, transmitting signal to the White House. At night, Nora wakes up from screaming, trying hard not to make noise. A woman peeks out of the room and sees how a crowd of Amazons bring up a girl for that. What was she talking to Sam? Smiling beauties turn out to be ruthless, but Nora decides not to get involved. She wants her daughter to be safe. And for this, she is ready to accept the rules of the game. Sarah finds the van, and the company continues on its way to San Francisco. Despite Yorick and Allison's attempt to escape, it's natural, brings discord to the company, and the agent no longer trusts fellow travelers, and that leads to more trouble. Sarah falls asleep at the wheel and the car flies off the road. Getting out of the car, Allison trying to find Sarah, but it doesn't turn out to be in the driver's seat. But a military immediately appears nearby. Convoy of cars, which has nothing to do with the White House. Jennifer is being reported on this incident, and also about that there was a man among the fugitives. While the president tries to take away suspicion from his son, he comes to his senses in a stranger house, in one bed with the same stranger woman. Getting out of bed, Guy goes in search of his monkey, but gets into the society of people who brought him here. Ranch dwellers, to which Yorick was delivered, are quite peaceful. Except here they are not telling Yorick where did his girlfriends go, and girls at this time wake up in a prison cell, totally not understanding where are they and how do they get out of here. Jennifer addresses the survivors of the city with request agree to evacuate and not make a riot. In the crowd, the president spots a familiar face bat, his son's girlfriend, who was in the hospital all this time. While the president communicates with Kimberly Bat, continues to secretly campaign Regina, topple the imposter and take her place. Despite the friendly environment, Yorick is not let go in reverse. He gets sent to the girl's cell to decide what to do with the prisoners next. To everything that happened joins the news that a new flu strain has been discovered in Greece. Jennifer, instantly involved in solving this problem, but she has to decide, and one more. Marlowe is in command center. To find out, are the Yorick rumors really? The truth waiting in the camera seems so excruciating that an argument breaks out between Sarah and Yorick again. But the couple finishes their showdown as soon as the heavy door opens, and on the threshold appears one of the residents of the settlement. She reports to the captives that a decision has been made about them. They are allowed to stay until then, until the king gets better, and then they will be taken out of the city, and they can continue on their way to San Francisco. Ranch owners allocate a separate bedroom for Sam, but before disconnecting, she's asking Yorick to be careful and not trust anyone. But the guy's sure that agent exaggerates the danger. And settlement turns out to be pretty fun, and everyone looks very peaceful and kind. Moreover, they have plenty of food. There is electricity and water, which have long been absent in other regions. Marlowe's grief turns out to be so strong that a woman decides to end her suffering. Climbing to the roof, the widow of the former president of the country takes a step into the void. To be reunited with husband and son soon. For daughter, she leaves a note with apologies and wishes. Cope, meanwhile, Beth returns to town. But not to the apartment to friends, the way she was saying Jennifer. And in the truck to the rebels, preparing a raid on the White House. Kate is one of the Amazons, tries to leave group, but Roxanne reminds her of the hard rules, firing a bullet in the fugitive's back. But the other inhabitants, Roxanne won't admit it. She exposes everything like that. As if the girl was attacked by nomads, and so that it doesn't happen again, Roxanne sends everyone to enhanced shooting training. Besides, Roxanne is going to escort out the guests. Nora learns about it from one of the participants, and she rushes to the leader to beg her to let them Mackenzie stay. No persuasion on Roxanne is valid. She gives Nori a couple more days. The woman and her daughter must leave the commune. She remembers how did she manage to find this place and create an Amazon community. And from day one, Roxanne was the only leader here. Nothing changed during this time. Roxanne continues to dictate their terms and inspire the inhabitant of the community that beyond its limits they are waiting for danger and death. She holds a meeting every day on which participants must remember all the nasty acts of men and make sure that Roxanne is the only one who gives them safety. Sam is not allowed to attend these meetings and is preparing to leave. Occupy the lakeside guest houses and found your own commune. But here, Hero managed to get under the influence of Roxana. Girl not sure that she wants to leave, witness an emotional conversation. Friends becomes Roxanne. She gets Hero hooked on her ears again, convincing the girl of what even is an unreal man. Can't talk to her like that. Ends with everything. That the couple breaks up. And at night, Roxanne
letting him
chases
take
Sam
some
away.
food.
In the morning, Roxanne doesn't tell Hero about that. What is it she let go? Sam, but she does everything. To calm down, girl. And in honor Hero even arrange a farewell holiday to all men's. The holiday ends with a noisy fun party, on which everyone rests. Except for the Hole. The woman never manages to join the team. And to avenge it, she's setting a mall fire. While everyone is sleeping, the Amazons manage to escape, but their supplies are destroyed. Inora makes an appearance. What she has nothing to do with it. She gets lost in the crowd, depicting Sorrow satisfied with his act. Nora getting ready for a night escape, she goes into the woods to check your supplies, but on the riverbank, a girl finds a police car. Stuffed with bodies, it becomes obvious that Roxanne is not the same at all. Who is she impersonating? And Nora decides to use it to her advantage, choosing the moment when they can be left alone. Nora telling Roxanne about her find, and she promises to be silent. But in exchange for privileges in the community, he and his daughter should always have the best food, safety, and roof over your head. But as payment, Nora offers not only her silence, she ready do like this, that even after ruin, people will not leave Roxanne, and she can remain the head of the female fraternity. Roxanne agrees to borrow terms. She gathers people and performs with a loud motivational speech, I promise, that they will cope with all difficulties and conquer the world. Sarah is recovering and even resumes training, but she continues to be haunted by hallucinations and visions. Despite this, she's watching Yorick closely, which seems lost my vigilance again and trusted the villagers too much. Sarah's suspicions intensify when one of the residents pestering her with questions about the beacon found in the car. Girl refuses to talk. What is it? But she obviously doesn't want to have this device detected by Yorick. On assignment, Roxanne. Hero finds one more community, group of women, who organized a memorial to the men. Under the guise of good intentions and protection of women's rights, Roxanne organizes a raid on the community to take food and other necessary things from them. Amazons suit a real one. Hell for Memory City residents. But Noma understands that everything is not going according to plan. Instead of picking up groceries and drinking water, savages just destroy it all, enjoying the process. Women don't like this, and she's trying to make sense of Roxanne. But the insane founder of the squad believes that everything makes right, finally recovering from illness. Regina Oliver is about to overthrow Jennifer, and she asks her accomplices to be prepared to flip in 30 minutes. For support, she turns to Kimberly. But after the death of the mother, girl loses her fuse and no longer wants to participate in change. At the same time, under the government building, Team Bet lays charge. Jennifer Brown is called to the command center to face charges of withholding information about Yorick to protect his pregnant assistant. Jennifer has to admit that her son actually survived. She talks about that as well. That guy is sent to genetics in the name of saving the world. But did he make it to the spot? Nobody knows. Even those who are still at stake were not on Jennifer's side. Are taking Regine's side. They ask the cheater to resign and transfer power, the real president. But discussion of this issue have to postpone since there's an explosion rattling in the building, and it was infiltrated by outsiders. Rebels break into the building led by Bat. Cleaning up the underground tunnels, they face politicians and security service. The president has to lay down his arms and surrender. Jennifer finds out Beth, despite the balaclava, but the girl manages to signal so that the woman is silent and does not give her away. Regina's desire to be president disappears immediately as soon as danger appears. Therefore, Jennifer Brown have to take responsibility and communicate with the rebels. Responding to their demands, rebels take hostages out of control center to leave the building with them and not collide with wild townspeople. It was at this point that Regina still begins to prove that the president is here, and everyone should listen only to her. In a fit of anger, she accuses everyone of betrayal, tries to turn in his girlfriends, including Kimberly, and the cherry on the cake declares that Jennifer Brown's son is alive. One of the rebels plugs a hysterical woman with a bullet in the forehead. But that doesn't undo that. What did she already say? And most importantly, this finally confuses the gang plans. Long stay in the settlement leads to that a hunt opens for Yorick. Women missed men's attention, and they wouldn't mind spending time with a survivor, taking advantage of that while busy. Yes, and Allison makes acquaintances with the locals. Sarah is hiding in the woods to destroy the censor, who's been transmitting a signal from her all this time. The rebels don't have time to get the hostages out of the building. Second enemy group launches on ventilation. Tear gas. Shooting starts in the hallways. People in panic run in different directions, and those who do not have time to hide drop dead to the floor. Beth Sneak takes off Jennifer's handcuffs and tries to take her away. Take your pregnant assistant with you. President fails, but Kristen doesn't stay one. Kimberly stands up for her. Through the underground parking lot to the girls, manages to sneak to the exit among personal belongings at Memorial Town. Roxanne finds a notebook with the names of all the male survivors. Now the leader has a new goal: find them all and destroy them. To free the planet, start Amazons decide with a guy, which has already caught their eye, and who now lives in a village nearby. His portrait of Nora shows Roxanne, and they of course turn out to be Yorick Brown. Beth gives Jennifer her uniform, and before breaking up, President says, "Girl," that Regina's words were true. Yorick is alive. Roxanne and Nora go in search of the village, in which they assume the surviving man lives, but as if anticipating the imminent arrival of Sarah rushing friends to move on. The news of leaving doesn't like Yorick, but he is not ready to argue with the agent. But it is unlikely that the company will have time to disappear. Roxanne already found the estate, and she prepares the squad for the offensive in the coming hours. During a meeting at Roxana camp, 2 nomads break in, and from them, Hero learns about the death of the president without knowing that this post was claimed by someone other than her mother. Girl think that we are talking about her, but actually Jennifer is alive. Mourning his daughter, she's getting ready to escape along with Beth. The president cannot stay in the city. Hunting has long been open for her. At night, Sam sneaks into Jennifer's house. A woman immediately recognizes her daughter's friend, and together the company tries to escape. But the house is surrounded. Christy and Kimberly find refuge in an empty barn. Waking up early in the morning, Kimberly says, "Girlfriend, what does she know? How do they all escape? They need Yorick to keep breeding," and Yorick seems to agree with them, because he spends this night in bed with one from the villagers who long ago laid eyes on him. Idle destroys the appearance of the Amazons. Led by Mad Roxanne, they break into the city street and demand giving them a man. Sarah jumps out of bed from the sounds of gunshots. She instructs Yorick's new GF to bring out the boyfriend, and she stays in the house to repel the attack. Understanding the numerical advantage of rivals, Sarah walks out with her hands up, pretending that she is afraid of guests. With herself, she brings out the local trans, passing him off as the same man. A serious shootout begins on Main Street. Her sounds distract Sarah's convoy, and the girl disarms the opponents and escapes. Even little Mackenzie joins the battle, trying hard to prove Roxanne that she takes a place in the community for good reason. At the same time, Hero catches up with a group of fugitives. She shoots them till then, until Yorick turns around. But finding out your brother, the girl freezes, and Yorick's girlfriend releases a bullet into her. Not guessing about that this is her boyfriend's own sister. Wounded, Hero manages to tell his brother about the death of his mother and want to destroy it. She's letting Yorick leave, and for this she will eliminate one of her tribe's women. City shootout in full swing. But unexpectedly, Nora raises her hands and goes to the center, stating that what they give up, this is making Roxanne mad. But everyone doesn't care about it anymore. Hero tells Burrow about that Yorick is alive, it gives women strength, and back to his camp. Nora decides to displace Roxanne, opening the assembled girls' eyes. But talk, don't act. Roxanne keeps provoking Burrow until he gets shot in the chest by her. From surprise, Amazons raise arms, but Nora finds comforting words for them. Next to her, shoulder to shoulder becomes Hero. And from that moment on, there is no new leader at all. Sarah walks a few kilometers and finally finds Yorick and Allison. Guy depressed by that he lost all his loved ones, and he has no point in living anymore. Listening to Buddy, Sarah confesses that she understands him very well. As a child, she also lost her parents. Except Sarah says, Yorick, what if he wants to? He can leave. She subbed to Jennifer. And then after her death, their contract is terminated. But the guy refuses, and he asks Sarah to be his coach, to stop being a burden and be able to protect himself. Meanwhile, Jennifer, Beth, and Sam find themselves locked in an empty room. Supervised by cameras, company doesn't know that they were captured by Commander Sarah from the Secret Service. Following the beacon signal, Sarah brings friends to a gas-filled car. Besides fuel, the car has everything for research. And map with marked route,